Welcome back to the Nutrition Made Simple podcast. At Healthy Steps Nutrition, we believe something as fundamental as nutrition shouldn't be complicated, which is why we focus on a simple, habit-based approach. We know that becoming the best and healthiest version of yourself isn't just about following macros, a meal plan, or killing yourself at the gym. You have to look at a holistic approach, looking at stress management, sleep, mindset, lifestyle, support system, and of course, exercise and nutrition. I'm your host, Nicole Coyne, registered dietitian and founder of Healthy Steps Nutrition, CrossFit HSN, and HSN Mentoring. I'm also the author of the Healthy Kids Cookbook, 100% kid-approved recipes the entire family will love. You can find it on Amazon. In this podcast, I am going to teach you how to take one step at a time to becoming the healthiest version of yourself. Today's guest is Zach Bush. He is a CrossFit coach at CrossFit Generation, as well as a nutrition coach. After struggling with mental health issues and anxiety himself, he stumbled upon this book called The Miracle Morning. It impacted him so much that he opted to create a challenge around the principles of this book for his community at CrossFit Generation. At HSN Mentoring, some of our mentors found out about what he was doing and thought it was such an important message that he should come on the Nutrition Made Simple podcast to hopefully inspire our listeners to take action and really be intentional with creating a morning routine. In today's podcast, we talk about the miracle morning, what it actually is, how someone could take small steps to change their morning routine to go from super stressed and chaotic to intentionally making decisions to live your best life and move towards your goals. We talk about what he found after implementing a 30-day challenge around the Miracle Morning at CrossFit Generation and how nutrition coaches can implement some of these strategies to better the coaching experience for their clients. I hope you enjoy this episode with Zach. Zach, welcome to the Nutrition Made Simple podcast. I'm so excited to talk to you today.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm super excited to be on here with you as well.
So you've been doing some interesting things over at CrossFit Generation. You've been a coach there for, I guess, a little bit over a year now, a nutrition coach, right?
Yeah, nutrition coach for about a year, and I've been CrossFit coaching at the gym for about 6 years.
Awesome. Well, I personally had such an amazing opportunity to meet you and the rest of the team in person last year. We had so much fun going up and checking the gym out and watching Barry do his thing. And it was just a really great time. So of course, when I heard you were doing something really cool, I was like, we got to have you on the podcast to share all about it. You read a book called The Miracle Morning. Why did you read that book? And then we'll dive into what you did after you read that book, which is the coolest part of the story.
Yeah. So in the end of 2019 and early 2020, before COVID and all this stuff actually happened, I was dealing with some anxiety issues, some stress, stuff like that. I had just got it into my head that like something was wrong. Again, something just popped into my head. I don't know why, but I felt like something was going on. So I started not sleeping that well. Thought maybe I was just overworking it at the gym. So I stopped going to the gym, which I do not recommend stopping that if you are dealing with any stress or anxiety. But so I went through that for 4 or 5 months. I mean, I went to doctors, like the anxiety was like, something's wrong, and for no reason. And everything came back clear. And, eventually it got into my head that like, hey, maybe like this is all just in my head. Whatever I'm believing internally is producing these external fatigue, tiredness, and all that stuff. So going through all of that, I was able to kind of look back at things and be like, okay, like it's a mindset thing. Like this has a lot to do with how you can feel, how you can, work out and deal with all the stuff that you have going on in your life. So that was a couple of years ago. And fast forward a little while to about beginning of this year, about 6 months ago, I got a recommendation for this book from another group that I'm in, and decided to give it a read, right? I had kind of figured out like, all right, I want to do something a little bit more. I had these goals that I've never really worked towards or, accomplished yet. So, people had recommended this book to me, and I decided to, take a read and see what it was all about. And it really helped change not only my mindset, but to develop the confidence and path to achieve the goals that I wanted to, and to get in a better mental and better mindset space. So I think, I had the nutrition stuff locked down, I had the fitness stuff locked down, but I think the third thing that everybody kind of misses on is the mindset thing. And that probably is one of the biggest factors to help with both the other two aspects and in your life in general.
It's so important. And I think now more than ever, people who've never struggled with mental health, anxiety, depression are struggling with things they've never had to deal with before. I know I can personally relate to that from our experience last year. And, you have to figure out how to change your mindset and do things differently if you want to be different. Right. So I'm so thankful that you ran across this book. I would love for, obviously it worked for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you believed in it because you are now helping other people. You guys just ran a challenge, a Miracle Morning Challenge at CrossFit Generation, which is really cool. I'd love for you to give me like the big idea. Like what is the Miracle Morning? Like what are you learning in this book and really moving forward? How has it helped you?
Yeah, so the book is based on the fact that between the time you wake up and the time you start your day, whatever that looks like for you, you take time for yourself and do 6 foundational movements or exercises that he calls the S.A.V.E.R.S, just an acronym for silence, affirmation, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing or journaling. So each one of those, which he dives deeper into in the book, you'll do each one of those aspects, and it'll kind of create this space of calm and clarity for you to start your day off right before the chaos of the day hits you. So by doing these few things, you can kind of clear out your head, get prepared on what you need for the day, but also take some time for yourself. I know a lot of people are so worried about everybody else that they forget to take care of themselves first. So you get up just, even can be just a few minutes earlier and do these exercises, and then you can then move into your day knowing that you've had this time to yourself to kind of build what that is. So by using these 6 exercises, you can also take a step back and say, what goals have I wanted to accomplish? What things have I wanted to do? All right. And then you can kind of use that miracle morning to create a plan to hit those goals. Your affirmations are kind of saying things that you will do this because you want this, and you'll do it so often. And your visualization is you achieving those goals, right? It gives you that motivation, that clarity, that confidence to get your day moving, get up and feel good about the day before all the craziness happens, right? Because you can get up and right before you have to do things, and then all of a sudden, everything breaks loose and you're not sure what to do, and you're just reacting to things as it being a bit more proactive. So I did the challenge myself in the beginning of January, and it's a 30-day challenge. He has an app too that you can do. It has little videos and stuff like that. But I did it in January, and I'm already a morning person, so it wasn't too bad for me to get up a little bit earlier. And so I went through and did all these, the meditation for the silence, the affirmations where he has like sample ones that you can use if you don't want to create your own, the visualization, doing the exercise, which, is separate from going to the gym, right? I just did like stretching exercises. You can also do walking or a short yoga session, reading, which can be something that's like a personal development book or even just something fun. And then the scribing or the journaling is I think one of the biggest things, because it takes any thoughts that you have trapped up in your head and puts them down on paper. It can even be any of the goals that you want to work towards. So that'll help kind of create that clarity, and that repetition will not only create a habit, but will build something that you can confidently move forward with every morning and develop the process and the path to achieve your goals. So it's had a huge impact on me because I take about 45 minutes every morning to do it. Again, it just creates that clarity of this is the goal I'm working towards. What do I need to do today to get there? And then being able to reflect on that using the journaling, the meditation and stuff like that.
So much to unpack of all the things that you just said. Holy cow. Okay. So it takes you, I want to start with like time. Because, as a society, I think we are rushing. Like we hit snooze a million times, and then we jump out of bed, and then we're rushing to do whatever. And we really don't have the time to reflect and start our day off right. I know for me personally, I don't do all those things, but maybe I need to start. Coffee with my daily devotional is the way I start my morning. And I love doing it that way. But for you and for the people that did this Miracle Morning Challenge, how long? It took you 45 minutes, but like, what's the average time that it takes for people to get through those 6 things?
Yeah. So, and the nice thing about these 6 things is you can do them in any order for any length of time that you can fit in. So as part of the challenge, and he recommends that we can start at something as small as 6 minutes. So doing each of them for 1 minute each. So that's what I told a lot of people. I said, hey, if you're not sure you can do this, I don't want you to block off an hour of time. I don't want you to get up an hour earlier, especially since some of you are trying to go to the gym at 6 a.m. You're already up at 5:30. You don't want to get up at 4:30. So starting with 6 minutes, just doing a minute of each is a great way to start. And then it'll let you kind of build up. As you get confident, maybe after a week or 10 days, maybe you can start figuring out which ones you are getting more value from, which ones you kind of don't feel as good after, and then lengthen the ones that you're getting more results from and keeping the other ones nice and short. Still doing them all, but customizing the time for each one. I didn't start with 45 minutes. I was starting with probably a half an hour, just 5 minutes of each. The reading one and the scribing one are the ones that I find the most value from. So I increase the time for those, but keep the other ones a little bit shorter.
Okay, that's super helpful. You mentioned one thing that we actually just read, Soundtracks, which is a book by John Acuff, talking all about overthinking and the thought patterns. And he actually did a 30-day challenge in his book where he had 10,000 people and they were told to do positive affirmations in front of a mirror, saying these positive things, whatever was relative to what they wanted to focus on in the morning and at night. And it exponentially showed people feeling better about themselves, reaching their goals, and, just feeling more confident, which is such an interesting thing. And I think so many people, like he even made fun of himself. He's like, yeah, I felt like a weirdo standing in front of the mirror and telling myself these things. But imagine if your thought patterns were super intentional about the good things. You're going to naturally focus on those things instead of the downward spiral that some of us go down this rabbit hole super quick in the morning, and then you're setting your day off on a bad foot.
Yeah, exactly. And I actually included his new anthem in the challenge that we ran, because the affirmations they're awkward at first, right? You're kind of telling yourself to believe these things and you're gonna do these things, and it is, no matter whether you're using that or anything else, it's awkward. So I did include that as part of the challenge, because that's the one that I use, because it is just reading it, getting a little uncomfortable is a good thing. So getting in front of the mirror, doing it, seeing yourself say it is something that will eventually, in the long run, especially after the end of 30 days, will produce long-term results. You will start believing things. You might not notice it right away, but you will, especially when you look back on it. And that's what's nice about the scribing is, day one, you're right, I did the affirmations and I felt super weird looking at myself, telling myself these things in the mirror. And then when you get to the end of the 30 days and you're writing in your journal, you can look back on that day one, which might seem like so far away, but you'll see the growth that you've had.
So good. That is so good. It's such a really, really great point. You have to make time for it. And I think if you don't pencil it in and make time in the morning, it's going to be really tough for you to do these things. So I have a question. It sounds like you're a morning person. I'm definitely a morning person. What about those people that are not morning people and are like, Zach, I'm not going to get up earlier. What's the deal here?
Yeah, so I think, that's the common thing in society, like morning person, not a morning person. People put the labels on themselves for it. And I agree that some people do find it easier to get up in the morning and some people do want to stay up later. But kind of like Soundtracks, where it's like you kind of keep telling yourself that in your head over and over and over again, you start believing it, and then you start becoming what you believe. So I think, being a morning person is like a skill set that you can kind of learn. You still might not be great at it, but it is something that over time, that if you keep working on, will get a little bit easier and easier. But the other thing too is, like I said, starting with just that 6 minutes. I think we can all agree that no matter what time you usually sleep until, anybody can get up 6-10 minutes earlier, right? Like I said, I don't want to start with an hour or 2 hours earlier than you normally would, but just starting with 6 minutes earlier, I think it's something that everyone can do. And in the book, he has these snooze-proof strategies that he uses. One is setting the phone across the room, or whatever your alarm is across the room, drinking a glass of water as soon as you get up. A lot of the times the fatigue is from dehydration, from sleeping all night. So there's a couple other things that you can do there to kind of help get you up and moving. And honestly, the hardest part of getting up earlier is just the first few minutes of getting up. Once you're kind of up and out of bed and moving, it's not too bad.
No, I would challenge people to think like, what is your morning routine right now? Do you spend time scrolling on social media? Are you listening to the news that are probably not productive ways to start your day. If you take 6 minutes from those tasks that you're probably doing, and move it towards more self-development and setting your day up for success, I would imagine you feel so much better throughout the day and you feel more fulfilled because you're truly going in the direction of where you want to be going.
Yeah. I mean, once you have a vision of what your goals are, and once you get in the process of this, you will start getting excited about getting up in the morning, right? As crazy as that sounds and as kind of cliche as that sounds, it truly does happen, especially when you're working towards something and you're feeling the result of it. Getting up is a little bit easier when you feel like you have a purpose to get up and you know exactly what you're going to do and you're giving yourself that space to do something for yourself.
Couldn't agree more. All right, I want to transition. You did a 30-day challenge at CrossFit Generation because you're like, man, this book really helped me. I know it will help other people. What was the big idea around this challenge? What was the goal? People love a challenge, right? Like people love a challenge. A great way to rally the people. But what was the goal with setting this up and really executing this challenge that you guys did revolving around the Miracle Morning?
Yeah, like I mentioned before, the three aspects of health and fitness is, the nutrition, the fitness, working out, and then now the mindset. And a lot of times we ignore or don't address the mindset portion of it. So that's something that obviously I was missing, but I figured if I'm missing it, there's got to be at least a couple people in the gym that are missing it as well. So I wanted to bring it to the gym and see who might be interested, who might be able to get something out of it. So I kind of took what he had outlined and created into something, like you said, a challenge. Everybody loves a challenge. That's going to be the best way to reach the most amount of people that we can. We kind of threw it together last minute. I came up with it in, maybe the middle of April, and I put something together, a presentation, structure, and all that stuff. But then we were just like, we'll see who we can get to sign up and who we can get to do it. And maybe we can change a couple people's mindsets and change their morning routines and their outlook on things and what they're working towards. We had 17 people ended up signing up, which was more than I thought. I was hoping for maybe 10, but we got 17, which was awesome. We ran weekly Zooms on Sundays to discuss how things are going, what's working well, what's not working well, kind of bouncing ideas off of each other, which I think people liked a lot. And we did weekly prizes for, based on adherence to how many days a week they were doing it. So just trying to add a little bit of fun to it, but also making sure that people are getting the most out of it. And we had great feedback. A lot of people said that this really changed how things were going. They had, like you said, a lot of anxiety, especially with the last couple of years, some stuff that they've always wanted to do or had done before that they wanted to start doing again, but never really found the time or made the time to do it. A couple of people said that reading was something that they used to do all the time and they didn't do it. Now they're reading every day with this challenge, and now they're reading more and stuff like that. So really helped change a lot of people and their mindset on what they want and their morning routine, and kind of setting their days up for themselves in a really great way.
I love it. Well, it sounds like people had some really great feedback and you guys were able to take this idea and really help facilitate change with people in a group setting, which is really awesome. For those listeners who are like, this sounds interesting, I want you to, number one, mention those 6 things again, because we breezed over it, but I think that we got to spend like a second and give people time to write it down. And we'll also put some notes in the show notes for this episode, so people who are like driving or whatever can go to that page and get the notes from what you're saying. But what were those 6 things again, and where would you recommend someone get started?
Okay, yeah. So the S.A.V.E.R.S are the 6 things. It's the acronym. So silence, the first one. So meditation or some kind of prayer, anything that even just sitting there for however long you want to do it. It literally is what it sounds. Just silence. Giving yourself a space in the peace and quiet of the morning. Affirmations is where you take something you want to do, or some kind of thought process that you want to change. Using the soundtrack's new anthem is a great way to start. The visualization is sitting there. There's guided and unguided visualization, so you can find it on YouTube or Spotify. They'll sit there and they'll guide you through a visualization exercise where you sit there and you imagine you completing a task or hitting your goal, and that'll just create that motivation to what that is going to feel like and really make you motivated to keep moving forward with it. Then we have the exercise, which is, like I mentioned, taking a dog for the walk, and do yoga or anything like that simple. It doesn't have to be anything super long. Reading, just grabbing a book, whatever that is. If your goal is to build a business, or if you want to learn more about nutrition, finding a book that specifically covers that topic and just reading for 10 minutes a day or 5 minutes a day, that 10 pages a day will be 3,600 pages, which will be like a book a month. So I think we could all gain something from just reading one extra book a month. And then the scribing or journaling is just writing down whatever, your thoughts, your goals, what you've gotten from the morning already, just anything and everything that you can get off of your head will be beneficial.
Awesome. So maybe you start off with 1 minute each, but getting into a routine where you're doing these things consistently. No, you did this challenge, but I think based on our conversations, your plan is to now help people individually. You're a nutrition coach at CrossFit Generation, but when we think about the holistic approach with Healthy Steps Nutrition, it is really helping someone become the best version of themselves. And if we can set our day up, imagine how we're going to feel at the end of the day if we're consistent with our thought patterns and our actions towards whatever goals and whatever we are wanting to achieve. Do you plan on integrating this piece into your health and wellness coaching through CrossFit Generation?
Yeah, I think the challenge is good because just like a nutrition challenge, you can reach a broad amount of people and have them see some impact from that challenge, right? You might not get major results in just 30 days, but it'll let people test the waters. And I think, this proved that you can see results. So being able to dive deeper into it with somebody and individualize it and help them on a one-on-one basis will be huge. So I think that's something that we are going to start implementing on a more individualized basis, whether they want to include nutrition or not, but they can combine both of those, right? I mean, the whole point is to have goals and then to work towards those goals and find steps to get there. And the Morning Miracle will help develop and create the confidence and motivation to work towards those goals every single day.
I love it. All right. So last piece before we wrap up, one of the things that we do with the Healthy Steps Nutrition Mentoring Program is a book club. And you were nominated to help us lead the book club for the summer, Miracle Morning. So any Healthy Steps Nutrition coach that wants to read this book and then join us for a live Q&A and just discussion through Zoom at the end of July, we would love for you to be a part of that and to join this and see how you can integrate this piece of the puzzle to truly help your clients live their best life. Any teasers that you want to give any coaches that hopefully will be listening to this book or reading it?
The only thing I can say is that if you're still kind of unsure about this whole thing, is to start with just the reading portion of the S.A.V.E.R.S and read that book. And then as you get through it, as you get a breakdown of each one of the S.A.V.E.R.S, you can add those in. So as you get to the S part of it, you can then do your S, your silence, and then your reading. And then when you get to the A, you can do, so you can slowly build on that. And that'll kind of give you a nice teaser into how to ease into something like that if you're a little unsure of maybe how this is going to work.
I love that. And, as coaches, we always want to try things first before we help our clients because we're able to talk from experience. So you reading the book and implementing it yourself this summer could be a great next step to then start incorporating this kind of thing with your nutrition clients in the fall. Well, we will put the link in the show notes for people to find you guys, definitely on Instagram. And if people want to reach out to you because they have more questions or maybe they want to join in on the next challenge that you guys do at CrossFit Generation, we'll make sure that we have your contact info. Zach, you are such a breath of fresh air. Everyone at CrossFit Generation is just so positive and just it's just great to be connected with you guys and be a part of your journey. So thank you for all that you do. And we'll talk soon.
Thank you. Yep, I appreciate it.
What a powerful message. I really like the acronym S.A.V.E.R.S. And I loved what he said with not trying to go all crazy and spend an hour changing your morning routine and then getting super overwhelmed. Start with just one step at a time. Maybe that one step for you is downloading this book on Audible and listening to it as you walk and take a break middle of the day. Or maybe you get the hard copy and start with reading first thing in the morning. I can only imagine the impact it will have on your life when you start slowing down in the morning and truly set your day up for success with what you are wanting to accomplish in life. With so many people dealing with anxiety and depression and mental health struggles, we need to do something different. We need to prioritize our mental health. We need to set our days up that are going to best serve us. Well, I hope you take action after this podcast. If you are a Healthy Steps nutrition coach in the HSN Mentoring family, please download this book, listen to it, and join the conversation. So more importantly, you can impact your clients and start integrating some of these principles into your coaching experience. Well, hope you enjoyed this podcast episode. Please leave us a review, subscribe so that you don't miss another episode. And if you are looking for additional support and links, please click the link in the show notes. As always, if you're looking for individualized support, we would love to help you. You can go to healthystepsnutrition.com or find a Healthy Steps nutrition coach near you, like Zach from CrossFit Generation, by going to hireanutritioncoach.com. We'll see you back here next week.